working and organizing the Japan Miracle for the last 27 years, and part of this historical development, being in a new country in Malaysia, and Fuji Electric is trying to implant its long-standing philosophy of developing 57 Islamic countries from Malaysia. The reason we believe that Malaysia has the right infrastructure to implant this idea, because at the moment Malaysia has already achieved to be a truly global economy, and the leadership of Malaysia is committed to pioneer themselves in halal food, Islamic finance, and already Sukuk is one of the leading instruments for Malaysia. So we would like to take this journey after the recitation of Holy Quran from our brother Anwar, how Japan succeeded and how we can learn as a Muslim world from the best practices from Japan. So I would like to invite my brother Anwar to recite the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس.
The reason why we are united here today is to basically do some intellectual stimulation and do some brainstorming. And it won't be a one-way story, it has to be interactive after we finish. Today we are here that we believe that Islamic world is performing at the moment under to their true potential. We are about 1.52 billion people. We almost control more than 50% of the natural resources of the planet. We have 57 countries, but our GDP is half the US GDP, which is $14 trillion. Islamic world GDP is $7 trillion. Japan GDP is about $5 trillion, and China GDP is about $5.1 trillion as per the latest figures by World Bank. So we have to see in 21st century how we can revive our economy, what different methodologies and possibilities we can take in order to increase our exports, in order to refine our human resource, in order to have better systems that can really make us a roaring power, because we are there, but we consider it as a raw material source. So this is a small, I must say, an effort and some food for thought for us to take away from today. So I would like to start with a small documentary presentation which shows us the post 1945 Japan, what were the main factors Japan succeeded. It might not give you the complete picture, but it will give you some flavor that how Japan did it. Please ignore the costume of workers. This is the hard-working Japanese making tunnels.
The government gave special priority to shipbuilding. Japanese engineers studied how Americans had mass-produced cargo ships during the war. Then they copied them, prefabricating ships section by section. At Nagasaki, Suezo Uchida, who once made battleships, worked 7 days a week.
Sometimes I work very late, up to 10 or 11 o'clock at night. The worst situation, which happened quite often, was that we worked so late that we had to stay overnight at the shipyard instead of going home. That's how we used to work. Thinking back now, I learned too much. My source of energy was alcohol. As soon as we left work, we rushed into a bar close by and sat down on beer crates.
ビールはこう腰掛けにして椅子にして
We made a lot of noise, enjoying ourselves.
ねこれで
We had a drink and a snack, but we also discussed our plans for the following day. Then we had a few more rounds.
よし乾杯と言ってから
Wages were low, and their ships were cheap. With their new methods, the Japanese could build ships in 7 months that took up to 2 years in the West. Foreign orders poured in, and shipbuilding became Japan's first post-war success story.
The launching manager came to the ceremony with a short sword hidden under his jacket, strapped to his chest, so that he could commit harakiri if the launch failed. That's how seriously he took the launching.
というのが紳士主任のやり方。
At the end of the 1950s, Japan overtook Britain and the United States to become the biggest shipbuilder in the world.
That ship was really memorable. It was the first ship I'd been in charge of from start to finish. The responsibility was all mine. I'd done it. I had a great feeling of accomplishment.
After ships, the government fostered new industries, all aggressively aimed at foreign markets. Japanese cameras began to outsell German ones in America.
Electronic television.
Japanese motorbikes were cheaper and more reliable than Italy's.
Made in Nippon, Beijing.
The target industries were aided with cheap loans and tax breaks. The high standard of Japanese education helped industry as well. Using traditional strict teaching methods, schools turned out children who excelled in mathematics and were used to working in tightly disciplined groups.
The small flavor you can have to different communities at that time. Hence, the presentation today is basically a comparative analysis of how Japan did it and where Islamic world, where are we standing and what we can learn, because today, as you know, is the Japanese Cultural Day. So Japan, they have a national holiday, so it is celebrated all over the world in all embassies. This is how, but I think we will start with this Quranic verses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to human being, every nation has a direction towards which it turns. Therefore, try to excel in all that is good. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling to his human being. And we believe that we are the Ashraf al-Makhluqat, because we the Muslims are the Khalifatullah. We should be the ideal people on the planet in terms of if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legend. But unfortunately, with the time or era we are in, we are at the bottom of the pyramid. Secondly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change the inner self. We believe that we need to change our inner self in order to be better people, better citizens, and recognize the global community. If there is no justice, there can be no development. We believe that in pan-Islamic world, the missing link is justice. Justice, not only financial justice, we have immorality, whether it's character, intellectual corruption. All these things are leading to whether there is issues of governance, there are issues of justice, there are issues of not having non-level playing field. All these things are leading to injustice in society that is resulting into massive failure. So we, during this presentation, will go through those factors very briefly, that what are the issues at the moment in Islamic world and how we can tackle